When it comes to Rina, I've got two big, well-rounded questions. 1. How good is her buff? Well, she gives the entire team penetration ratio of up to 30% after attacking, and it is applied pretty much with any action. That's really good. And all of her actions are pretty fast. Now, how long does this buff actually last for? Unlike all the other buffs in the game, there is no duration indication, so we're going to have to figure that out for ourselves. So here I have Rina, and she's going to do a basic attack. So we get about 5 seconds until we lose the buff. We also get the same time with an attack combo. And we also get the same time with a special attack. Now, we don't always get 5 seconds, by the way. So let's try swapping out to an ally and see how long that lasts for. So when we swap out to an ally, the buff can actually be seen on the top left. So we just wait until that icon disappears. And there we go, around 8 seconds. We can also test the chain attack, and we'll also get 8 seconds-ish. So if you swap to an ally through some action, the buff lasts for 8 seconds. But I'd also like to add, if you swap back to Rina, you lose the buff, so keep that in mind. So overall, if you stay in Rina, you last for 5 seconds, and if you swap to another character, you'll last for 8 seconds. Now the question is that enough time? For regular mobs, you'll have no issues keeping it up 100% just from the barrage of chain attacks, assists, and EX special attacks and everything that you'll be doing, because you'll be only in those mobs. It's easy. Now with elites and bosses, I think it should be mostly okay through chain attacks, and you may occasionally have to take other action, but that's fine as Rina's attacks are very quick, so it won't waste that much time. So now that we know we can maintain this buff very easily, and Rina performs all of her actions very quickly, we then have to ask ourselves, what damage increase are we talking about here? Unfortunately, I don't have her, so I can only really test her out in the demo. So I'm just going to test out the demo Anton's damage with and without the buff. With the buff, the dodge counter does 76 damage. And without the buff, the damage is 74. And this is with a level 1 Rina with no investment, so we are talking about plus 6% doctor ratio. Unfortunately, the damage is under 100, so not great for percentages, but you know, it's around 3 to 4% extra damage. At a max of plus 30% penetration ratio, I think that should be pretty good. Now, I don't recommend wailing, but as a standard banner character, there is a good chance you'll get one Eidolon or dupe. And her E1 increases the buff duration and also increases the penetration ratio buff to 130%. If I'm interpreting that right, it means your max buff is now plus 39% penetration ratio. So I think that's pretty good. So overall, the buff is easy to apply, applies to the entire squad, doesn't take long to apply, and gives essentially a damage increase across the board. So I think that's great. Now to be honest, I don't really care about any of this, to be honest, because the more important question to me is Rina or Ellen. That's really what I care about here, okay? And I think the answer is both.